For our final AMA, we're doing something different, a live product teardown. What separates a killer product from thousands that flop? Joining us are Brian Fried, the inventor coach, and Freakin' Reviews, James White. Together, they'll break down real-world examples and share practical insights on what works and what doesn't. Welcome.
It's on? Okay, good.
Am I on?
That's
I'm good.
easy.
Okay, good.
All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Brian Fried. I'm called AKA the Inventor Coach. I have 15 patents. I've licensed products, so I earn royalties from them. I manufacture products locally and overseas. And I've been doing the same thing, working with other inventors for 19 years now. I run the National Inventor Club. I created an app for inventors called Inventor Smart Community. I was on QVC myself as an on-air guest for 3 years. That was fun. And I authored 3 books. I'm going to be doing a book signing session later on today. My latest one is called How to Make Money with Your Invention Idea. But look, as an inventor, and some of you may call yourself inventors, startups, entrepreneurs, we're all coming up with an idea, and ideas, maybe more than one. And how do we know that it's good, right? So I had my product, which is in my bag. It's called the paper towel topper. And so, you know, when your hands are wet or dirty, you put your hand on top of the paper towel roll. It gets dirty, right? And you pull the sheet off. So I came up with a better solution. And I'm looking around, and you know, I'm following this Freakin' Reviews website and social media. And there's James White here. He's running it and reviewing products. So I said, you know what? I want to try to get an influencer to pick up my product. And I got in touch with James. I guess it caught his attention, and he reviewed my product. And it was very successful. And you know, you can kind of ride that wave. But look, we all have ideas, whether it's a product or a business. But you know, when you have a product, you want to try to get as much exposure as you can out there. So how do we do it? So here's James, an influencer. If you look at him on YouTube, hopefully some of you have. He's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, he'll tell you. But he's got almost 1 million followers on YouTube. And I got him here to talk to you about how to either connect up with an influencer, what makes a great product, what does he look for in an idea, in a product. And he's been buying a lot of things online and reviewing them. So James, thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name is James White with Freakin' Reviews, as I say in my videos. I've been reviewing products since 2010, and I've been on YouTube since 2016. I focus mainly on weird products, unusual gadgets, or things that are useful. So I try to stick to that lane. I don't do tech products. I don't do beauty products because, you know, when you're so pretty, you don't need them, right? But when Brian messaged me, I thought, that's an interesting idea, you know. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, but I named the paper towel topper my #9 best video of 2022.
I did, and that got me more sales. Thank
welcome.
you very much,
You're
James.
welcome.
I think I owe you a dinner tonight.
So I'm on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat. I'm on all of them. And all combined, I have about 1.5 million followers. I've got about 500 million views total. And unlike most reviewers, I buy all the products myself. I don't have any sponsorships, so all my reviews are completely unbiased. If I don't like a product, I'm going to say it. And unfortunately, some inventors don't like when I say that. But I have to give it a real review. I try to give pros and cons of everything. And every product has cons to some people. That's why not every Amazon product is a 5-star product. You know, not every product is for everybody. And I try to see both sides of how the product's going to function for a multitude of people. So, you know, inventors either really like me or really don't like me.
So, James, how do you evaluate this product? Do you do it from your own personal perspective? Do you look at it from somebody else's point of view? I mean, how many products have you reviewed over the years?
Over 2,000.
Over 2,000. I think you might know what works and what doesn't work, but how do you look at it? From what perspective?
Well, you know, it's funny. I once had someone come up to me and he said, what makes you qualified to do product reviews? What makes you an expert? And my response was, I'm not an expert. That's why I'm qualified, because these products are marketed to the mass consumers. They're not, a chef doesn't need a kitchen gadget because he doesn't need the help. Consumers sometimes might say, I'm not very good at making poached eggs. I might need this gadget to help me out with it. So being completely average is, I think, what makes me qualified to test these products. So I'm testing them from the average Joe standpoint. I'm an average consumer. Here I am. I show my mistakes in my videos. If I don't do it right the first time, I'll show it because I think that it's important, because if I made that mistake, other people will too. And here's how I rectified that mistake. So I try to be the average Joe.
Yeah. Well, look, as an inventor, we all think that our invention is the greatest thing on earth, right? Everybody's going to want my invention, right? But sometimes it doesn't always work that way. We have to be open to listening to other people's feedback, advice. You know what? When I had a product that I was in front of a buyer at QVC, the buyer said, you know what, Brian? I would do this product, I would have you on air if you did this. So could I have said, you know what? No, I don't think so. Right? I said, okay, I'll come back to you when I do. And I had the product on air. So I think it's really important for us to be real. And so James, what makes a great product a great product? So I was number 9 in one of those years, and you have 2,000 products that you reviewed. What makes a great product a great product?
Well, I think that really, if it solves a problem, or takes an existing solution and improves upon it, or entertains. That seems to be the big 3 categories to me. And hopefully along the way, whoever creates that product has listened to consumer feedback besides just their wife and their mother, consumer feedback is a huge thing. And also, what makes a great product is not always a successful product, and a successful product is not always a great product. So a great product is something that resonates with people before it's marketed to them and after they purchase it.
I see when you buy a product, because you buy all the products,
I do.
Right? This way you're entitled to your opinion. So you buy the product, you open it up, and then you follow the instructions.
Yes.
Or maybe you bought it online and the instructions are on the listing. How important are those benefits and instructions to you?
It drives me crazy when I see other reviewers tear into a product and just start using it. That's just because, half the time they don't even do it right, and that must be frustrating for an inventor to see someone tear open your product and use it wrong. I'm sure that's probably happened to you as well.
Yeah, it's very frustrating.
And then they have 10 million views in their video, so everybody thinks your product doesn't work. So I always unbox my products the day before or the week before and read over the instructions and familiarize myself before I start using it, because I don't think it's fair to the people selling that product to not use it properly, and unfortunately there's a lot of people out there who don't. So
I have to say that market research is really important. I think that when you come up with an idea, I know you're using it, you believe in your product, your next door neighbor, your friends and family, they're all going to tell you they love your invention or your product. Otherwise, they're not going to talk to you again, right? So they have a lot to lose. That's why you need people that can give you good feedback before you keep investing and moving your idea forward. One thing that I use are online survey platforms. You may have heard of SurveyMonkey. I use one that's PickFu, PickFu.com. There are people out there that get paid to review your product before or anytime, whether it's your logo, the description, just to get people's feedback out there, because once it's out there and James gets a hold of your product, it's on, you know what I mean? And you want to be able to get the feedback and make the adjustments as you're moving your invention, your idea forward. James, there's many of us that are inventing products. We're coming up with new creative ways to solve a problem. What's it like to work with an influencer? How do we get somebody like you to kind of hook and see this product?
Well, I think that what a lot of people tend to do is I get dozens of emails a day. And a lot of times they're form letters that just has my name in a different font and just copy and paste. And I usually just delete those before I even open them, because I can tell they don't even know who I am. But when someone takes the time to look at my channel and say, oh, James, I like your dog Bailey, or enjoyed this video about this particular product. It tells me that they actually have watched my video and hopefully believe that their product is a good fit for what I do. You know, if it's I can't tell you how many times I've gotten people say, we want you to test our new hair dryer. I'm like,
Whoops.
I don't know how I'm going to test that, you know? You clearly haven't watched my video. Longtime fan, test our gardening tools, and I have a rock yard. I live here in Las Vegas, so I'm like, you know, you haven't watched my channel, but when someone clearly indicates they've seen my channel and they think it's a good fit, I'm going to read it. So you might have less reach by doing that, and it takes more time, but you have a better chance of connecting with someone if they think you've actually done the work to decide that you're a good fit for them.
Are there any categories that really stand out to you?
Well, I mean, as far as products
Yeah,
go?
as far as products.
Well, kitchen gadgets. Everybody loves kitchen gadgets.
Yeah. Why? Because everybody has a kitchen.
Everybody cooks, you know. That's the biggest category in my lane. You know, the tech gadgets are big, but I don't do tech products because I know my limitations. So.
What are some products that stood out or stand out to you even today that you've reviewed?
Last year I did one called the Quick Can, and it's basically a rectangular piece of plastic that's 1/4 of an inch thick. You fold it in half, and you stick a trash bag over it, and it basically functions as a trash can.
Well.
And it protects the bag from branches and things like that. So you know, I thought that was genius. The Crayola has one called the light brush, I believe, where kids can paint and it doesn't make a mess. You could write in your hands and the walls. It doesn't make a mess. So I thought that was a great idea. Of course, the paper towel topper was certainly one of the best products I reviewed.
Thank you, James.
That is a great idea. When I first saw it, I thought this is genius. You know, like I still use mine.
Thank you.
It does.
Thank you. James, so if I have a product, whether it's you or other influencers, what is the best way to get in touch with you? I know some people may have known you or not known you, but how important is it as an inventor, let's say, to work with an influencer, have kind of like, or maybe even a spokesperson to be able to get the word out? I mean, you're very active on social media. Some of us aren't sure exactly how to really expose our product out there. Maybe you can give us some tips and advice.
Well, most of them have, like on YouTube, there's an About tab that shows, and hopefully they've updated that to show the most accurate way to contact them. I get a lot of Instagram messages, and I don't really always read those, so I've missed some pretty good ones as well there. But the best influencers are going to put their contact information out there on their About tabs. But you know, I say contact me at my email address, and a lot of people don't email me. So.
Well, some of these influencers that I tried to look up, they charge. And some of them charge a lot.
They do, yeah.
And you don't know if they're going to say that your idea is good or it sucks.
That's another reason to look at their content, because, you know, are they just pitching anything that anybody throws at them? You know, what kind of credibility do they have? You know, are their viewers really taking them seriously, or they just know that they're just being paid for that?
Do you review products that are prototypes?
Not usually, no, because I like to, you know, I like to try out things that are available. So I get a lot of people on Kickstarter, you know, and Kickstarter, sometimes those products never show up.
Yeah.
You know, they never even appear. So I don't usually do prototypes. I think I've done a couple just because it was so weird and so interesting. But typically I don't.
Where are you buying your products? Temu, Shine, I think the Sheen, right? Amazon.com?
Typically Amazon, Temu.
AliExpress?
I used to buy on Wish, but they kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to them.
Yeah.
I have a P.O. box, which I just realized I haven't checked in like 3 months.
Uh-oh.
So
Somebody might have
I
sent
forgot about my
something to
P.O.
you.
box. I get some stuff unsolicited there, but you know, most of my products I get from viewer requests. You know, people write in, I saw this advertising, you got to try this out. Or I scroll social media looking for the ads. I'm the guy who looks for the ads. You know, I stop at them. Oh, what's this? And the best social media marketing for products are ones that look like a social media post. You know, if you're scrolling Instagram and it looks like an ad, you're going to scroll past it. But if it looks like a person in their bedroom talking about a product, you might actually stop and listen to them because it seems more realistic. So I have noticed that the social media posts that feel like, social media ads that feel like a social media post are the ones that stop me And I assume they must stop other people as well.
I know you've been in Las Vegas. Well, you live here, but you've been at this event for the last couple days, and I know you're itching to make another review. How often are you doing your review recordings?
I try to film something every day, whether it's not in a full review, but I might do 6 unboxings one day.
Wow.
The first part of one product the next day. It's pretty chaotic. There's no real rhyme or reason to it.
There are inventors, entrepreneurs, startups in this audience, and we're at all different stages. We're here seeking information or to get ourselves to the next level. What are some words of wisdom that you could share with us to keep us moving forward, James?
I would say that don't be so married to your product that you can't take criticism. You know, I've reviewed products that I absolutely loved, but I'll list the pros and cons at the end, and then I get a blistering email afterwards. I'm like, I recommended your product. It was one of my best products of the year. I just said, you know, if you're in this situation, you may not like it. You know, I think that if you can't listen to consumer feedback, you're going to potentially be looking at flaws showing up in your product long term. And you may not use your product the way the majority of people do. You might be one of the minority of people who use it a certain way that others don't. So if everybody's making the same mistake with your product, if everybody's making the same complaint, that means something.
There are many people that comment after you do your reviews. I mean, thousands, tens of thousands of people that comment. Do you read them?
About 1% of them.
Okay.
I don't have time. It's just, you know, I used to respond to all the comments, but it's half my day at this point to do that. So.
Well, when you reviewed my product, I read the comments, and some of them were good, and some of them were like, "Oh man, I guess that guy's not buying my my product." But look, we're all
it's not for everybody.
Using things that are different. We're wearing things that are different. Nobody's wearing. There's something out there for everyone, and for me, as an inventor, and I know I've been working with inventors for a long time, and even on QVC, for example, I have this one product called Pull Ties, and it's a bag sealer. And I originally came up with it to seal, you know, the twist ties and the plastic tabs that are on the bread, right? It annoyed me. I twisted it, it didn't open, it was the other way, and the plastic tab broke in my hand, so I was very frustrated. So I came up with this product called Pull Ties, which is also in my bag far away over there. And if I went on QVC and I said, this is for bread, bread, maybe you eat bread, maybe you don't eat bread, right? But I said, what other uses can it be for? For cereal bags, right? You open the cereal bag, it's left open. Freezer bags, when you're buying the club bags of French fries or vegetables, left open, right? So you can use it in your freezer, in your pantry. Boom, 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 boom. How many people have a kitchen? That's why my products have been successful, because I always try to open up the window of opportunity. So if you have something for a specific niche, is it that niche number 1 on your list, or maybe should it be 3, 4, or 5? Right? Sometimes, James, when you're reviewing products, they're making it specifically for that purpose, but I'm sure you've come up with other ways that it could be used.
You know, there's an interesting one that I did a couple years ago. It was actually originally marketed as a beauty product. It was basically a big piece of steel you'd freeze and hold against your eyes. But people started realizing that worked better as a wine chiller. So it had a completely new life, and it was more successful like that.
Wow.
So, you know, I'm sure the inventor never even considered that.
Yeah. Well, look, James is here. You can pick his brain. I'm happy to open the floor to Q&A, questions and answers, and let's see if he can. I don't know if I'm going to put you on the spot if somebody's going to take a product out and ask you about it, but why don't you? Why don't you ask him what he thinks about it? Let's put him on.
Oh, great.
All right. Anybody want to start? Now, most of them are consumer products, right? Some of you might have for industry or a specific niche. But are there any questions for James? It doesn't have to be where you share your product. Maybe you haven't filed your patent on it yet, and you don't want to expose it here in Alibaba.com world. Yes, sir.
Regardless of what your invention is or product, what do you find that, in terms of packaging, regardless of what your product is, what do you find you react quickest to? Something simple, something more elaborate, something more colorful? What gets your attention, in your opinion?
That's actually a fantastic question, because you know, really what I found success is when I realized that the curiosity factor is huge online, and not just for my videos, but also for products as well. You know, like my biggest video on YouTube, that one that blew up my channel, was the purple pillow, where I said a 10-pound, $100 pillow. And people were like, what's this? You know, so to me, the curiosity factor, and you can make anything elicit curiosity from the viewers. You know, it could be a pretty benign product that you present in a way that make people wonder if that's going to be a solution for them. So I think that simplicity is always a good thing, but solving a problem after the fact and eliciting curiosity beforehand, to me, is the magic formula.
When you see James he opens up the box, he's looking around, kind of taking it all in. So when he does start to use it, he's following precisely what the instructions are. And sometimes he's thrown way off, and the product doesn't work, or it does work. But I think it's important. I think also relative to where you're selling your product, because a lot of times you could just put it in a shipper box and ship it out and hope and pray, and maybe just have like a little card in there that has instructions. But are you looking more at the instructions, or are you looking more at the box, or both?
Well, I mean, presentation is great, but if you open it up and it's to me, it's how much the product is. The presentation doesn't really matter as much. It's nice. The instructions are helpful, especially if they're well worded and clear. I've had some instructions that are impossible to figure out.
I've seen you. You're
And I'm
like, what is this?
I've had to reach out to the company, and I've actually had companies tell me they redid their instructions because of questions like that. So, you know, it might be clear to you because you invented it, but the average person seeing it for the first time, I have no clue what you're talking about.
That's why giving it to somebody else to get their opinion, feedback is important, because James is going to get a hold of it, and he's following your instructions. And maybe you know it because it's your product, but I don't. So good point. Any other questions for James? You got an influencer right here. He's got tens of thousands of people that watch him and follow, and he's reviewing products on a daily basis. You have a chance to ask him questions. Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much for coming. Very interesting.
Thank you.
I'm curious for your reflection on products in general. Do you think products in general have gotten worse? Do you think that products that are made by people who don't actually use them have gotten worse? I've noticed there are a lot of products, not that they're cheaply made per se, but it seems like they were designed that they kind of resemble the real thing, but when you actually try to use it, you know, it doesn't actually really work. Have you noticed that, and what do you think's going on?
You know what's funny is I occasionally will buy an unused item from the 70s and compare it to a modern version. You know, that's one of my favorite things to do. And I find that the materials are typically better in the older products, but the electronics and some of those things you can tell were done by hand, and they're actually, so sometimes it's not always better in the past. You know, like I did an ice cream maker, a Ronco ice cream maker, and it was not very good. It looked like someone had made it in their garage, you know. So it's kind of a case-by-case basis, but I do think that in general, generic products from a marketplace are typically on the cheaper side, and I mean cheap, not just inexpensive, but usually products that are made by an individual, an inventor, or a single brand are typically much better quality.
And on that point also, you speak about price. You're like, sometimes, you know, this little thing here is costing me a fortune, right? But you still bought it.
Yeah.
What's your take on pricing products?
You know, I do think that there are times where the manufacturer is just way out of line. You know, I did a popcorn maker. I'm not going to mention the name of it. It was a $200 popcorn maker, and its main competitor, which had been around longer, was like 7 times cheaper. And even in every comment on their social media post, everybody's like, "This is way too expensive. I'm not going to pay $200 for a popcorn maker." And they don't seem to have any response for that. You know, like people don't want to pay $200 for a popcorn maker when the alternative is $30. So, you know, sometimes you have to wonder about the pricing. If you're not selling it and your people are complaining about the price, you might want to reconsider some of the process.
Thank you. What's your first impression with a product when you open it up? Like, what's your feeling? What's your emotion that you kind of You know, how do you feel good about a product that you just purchased? You buy a lot of products.
You know, presentation is a lot. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes you open something and it's in a bag with no instructions and it falls out. You know, like, this is not going to go well. I can just tell already. You know, but sometimes, you know, sometimes you'll open this beautiful presentation. I reviewed this clock that was a $300 clock, but it was, the packaging, I could display the packaging, it was so nice. It was so beautiful. So, you know, they really caught my eye on that one. So, I mean, it's really a big difference between those two.
You know, you do live in Las Vegas, right? You're about 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
Are you going to have a garage sale on all the products you bought?
You
I
know,
would love to check out what you have.
You know what? Here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do this one day. I'm going to load up my car. I'm going to go to Sunset Park, and I'm going to post on social media and say, "Come take whatever you want." I'm not even going to sell it. Just come take it, because I've got thousands of products.
Well, you're spending $300 on a clock.
I know. Well, I'm keeping that one.
All right, all right. Yes.
If you have a patent pending item, would you recommend waiting until it's fully patented before going the influencer route, or is it fine if you're pending to start doing it?
Well, on that side, as an inventor, if I'm patent pending, I'm basically putting people on notice that I filed. If you're already further along like that, then go for it. I mean, you know, people might tell you differently, but if you were first to file, then you should be good. But think about what you filed, because sometimes people file a provisional patent application. For those of you who are unsure, that gives you the right for 1 year to say you're patent pending before you convert it to a non-provisional patent application, or maybe otherwise known as utility patent. But also you could file a design patent. So if you're there, then go for it. But just make sure what you have filed is enough that covers what you have, and you were first to file. Okay? Yep.
Favorite product? That's an easy one for me.
It's okay, James. You don't have to say that.
The paper towel topper.
No, you don't have to do it. It's okay. I love you, James, but you don't have to do that.
My favorite product is actually one called a bed jet, and it is a it's like an air conditioning unit for your bed. It sits under your bed and has a tube that goes underneath the covers, and it can blow cool or warm air in there. And I have a hard time sleeping in any bed without the bed jet now, and so it's luxury sleeping. You know, there's no other way to really describe it until you've tried it. I've bought several as gifts for friends, and they all love them. So.
You know what? I have a product called Extra Space. It's a collapsible egg tray. So one night I had leftovers and there was no room left in my fridge, and I was trying to jam the bag in there, and I opened up the carton of eggs and there was one egg left. Frustrating. So I came up with this telescopic egg tray, which is also in my bag. And the point I wanted to make is, you know, I'm selling it. I was on QVC with it, and I have different platforms that I sell it. But you know what? Who's going online to search for a collapsible egg tray? So I have to find people that are searching for egg trays on Amazon, for example, and you might consider this, right? Or I give it to influencers and I try to have them pick it up. So I'm doing whatever I can to get out there. So just word of advice, like just keep finding different potential opportunities like James to be able to put your product in front, because, you know, like I know inventors that are putting their product online and they're selling, and they're so excited about how much they're selling. And then I say, but are you advertising? And they're like, yeah. They're spending so much in advertising that every time they sell one, they're losing a ton of money. So you feel good, but you're not making any money. You know what I mean? So you have to really balance and figure out how to get it out there, and, you know, multiple sources of ways to be able to find opportunities to get in front of James, other influencers, you know, and be able to sell it, and paid ads, and, you know, we're doing what we can to try to sell our product.
I mean, marketing is what can make a great product successful. You know, I mean, good marketing can certainly make or break a product.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions?
So we're almost at time,
Okay.
but we have a pleasant surprise in the audience. We have Eric here, and James, you actually reviewed one of his products.
Oh no.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
Yeah, actually, I have no questions. I just want to say thank you. It's awesome. It's really hard when you create something and then with no money. I was broke. And yeah, influencers was that make my product live. And yeah.
That's good. What's your product?
Called Laundry Turtle.
What is it?
Laundry Turtle.
Well, Laundry Turtle, yes. I
Yeah. So,
I did review that one, yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I have a new colors and version. So
Oh,
version still, if you want to do again.
That was in my laundry gadgets video.
Yes. So thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff.
It's nice to meet you.
All right. Well, James and I will be walking around and talking through the Alibaba.com, I guess the area where the products
Yes.
are, and we're here today. So if you'd like to meet James, he's here. You should definitely subscribe to his YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. He's a lot of fun to watch, and one day you can have your product reviewed too. But you see, he's a nice guy. I mean, you know, hopefully you get a good review. But hopefully you picked up some of the tips that he mentioned to you today, so you can have a good presentation to give, and hopefully this was helpful to all of you. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks, James. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.